Resiliency is the aspect of our character that we all tap into once our internal motivation to endure is depleted and out of energy. You see, the good thing about life is at the beginning of our birth and inception on this planet, we're all given a notebook with the opportunity and responsibility to begin writing our own chapters of strength and victory. And the blessing in disguise is that definition is different for all of us, creating a diversity in which we can all win and learn from. In the spirit of wanting to end the week with a resilient story of hope and perseverance, I want to bring you the story of my friend Jeff Pearson. First and foremost, he's a dad, a husband, a TV host, an author, a keynote speaker, and he was born with a condition known as hydrocephalus, which affects approximately 1 million Americans, according to the Hydrocephalus Association of America. Hydrocephalus is defined as a neurological disorder caused by an abnormal buildup of cerebrospinal fluid in the ventricle cavities deep within the brain. The excess fluid causes the ventricles to widen, putting an unhealthy amount of pressure on the brain itself. This is according to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke within the National Institute of Health. For Pearson specifically, his journey encapsulates a man of great strength with a story of tremendous difference and inspiration. So if you're ready to learn a great lesson about the spirit of life and maximizing its fullest potential, I hope you'll stick around for all of the words of wisdom and inspiration that Pearson has to share, because my time with him this week starts now. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Jeff, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program, my friend. And I'm super excited to learn about your health journey and how you've overcome it and to live a life of prosperity. Great to see you this afternoon, my friend. And thank you so very much for being here.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate you being open to me being on, and it's an honor to be here today.
Absolutely. Now, Jeff, I wanted to start our conversation by asking you your definition of perseverance and what that means to you under the context of your life and personal and professional journey, my friend. So what does perseverance mean to you?
What does perseverance? That's a good question, man. That's one I haven't had very often. I think perseverance is the ability to keep going even when you've been knocked down, to make sure you resolve yourself to get back up and not stay down, because everybody gets knocked down. Everybody gets knocked down, no matter what. Whether you have a condition that contributes to that or not, everybody gets knocked down. perseverance says I'm going to get back up and I'm going to keep going, and it's not going to make me quit.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's dive into your personal journey there. Jeff, I know you were born with what's called hydrocephalus, which is a brain or neurological condition. So
Mhm.
I'm just curious if you could give our viewing audience a little bit about your personal journey with the condition and how you've overcome it to live a life of prosperity.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yes, hydrocephalus is kind of a crazy thing because it's really, really common, but nobody seems to have ever heard of it. So it's hydrocephalus occurs, for me. It was because when I was born, I had a ventricle in my brain. Everybody's got ventricles in their brain. Everybody's brain produces what's called cerebrospinal fluid, and those ventricles are there as a drainage system to drain the cerebrospinal fluid so that it doesn't stay in your skull. It drains down your spinal column. And one of my ventricles wasn't working, and so I had to have brain surgery for the first time at 2 weeks old, and I've had 7 to date, 7 brain surgeries, which has made life really interesting. 4 of them have been in the last 10 years. So I'm not really sure what the reason for the picked up frequency is, but there's always a plan, and I just kind of roll with it. So as far as man, ask me your question again, though. I feel like I got off track. What was your
No, I just wanted to know about hydrocephalus and
Oh, there you go.
how you've sort of turned it into your sort of competitive advantage in life. Because
Okay.
Jeff, I was born with cerebral palsy, my friend, so I have dealt with similar circumstances as to yours, and I'm curious to ask you about building a community of social capital to get through your condition, my friend, because I know it takes an army or a village of people of support when you're diagnosed with something like this, doesn't it?
It's true, man. It really does. And I can't imagine what my parents would have been feeling, back in 1977 when they went to that 2-week checkup, thinking, okay, we're gonna get some checkup, get the in and out of this doctor's appointment and carry on with our life, with our new baby boy, and so yeah, I'm sure it's been crazy, and I'm sure that they had a village around them to help them through that difficult time, and I have certainly had an amazing group of people around me as well. I've made it through this far, 46 years plus, without having to take any medication, without having. I mean, really, I feel like I've escaped a lot of the things that could have happened, that could have made life more difficult, and I'm so thankful for that. But the village, so as you say, has been hugely important. I mean, nobody can do it alone, even if they think they can. Nobody is a solo act. Everybody has help, at one point or another. So I'm just thankful for the community that we've built on Facebook. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook page, and we're on, the social media aspect of it has been really fun. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome when you have that community. For
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Jeff, that your wife and kids mean the world to you, my friend, and your
Yes.
wife has helped you sort of find your purpose through this Facebook group. So tell me about your family dynamic, my friend, and why it's so important to you.
Yeah, man, my family. Yeah, my wife Catherine and I have been married. This coming June of 2024 will be 25 years we've been married, and we have 3 amazing children. We have Elizabeth, who's 20, Nick, who's 16, and Kasha, who is 14. And it's that dynamic has been very interesting. Catherine and I met when we were 12 years old. We were in 7th grade band class together, and that's when we met. And so when we met, and for the first, I don't know, 20 years of knowing each other, she really didn't understand what was going on with this whole condition that I had, because I really didn't have a lot of surgeries when I was younger. It's only been in the last 10 years that it's gotten, more frequent. And so she didn't really get a taste of that until about 10 years ago, but it's been amazing. And my family's been hugely supportive and hugely, it's just been integral in being able to get the word out about what we're doing with Hydro with Hope, which is our nonprofit, and with our TV show. And it's just, I couldn't have done it without them. I continue to depend on their love and support to be able to pull this off. Nobody does it alone. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And just tell me about Hydro with Hope, my friend, and your TV show and how it sort of woven itself into your life mission as well.
So yeah, thanks, man. So Hydro with Hope, we were sitting, the birth of the idea of Hydro with Hope is we were sitting in just kind of in a doctor's office waiting for the neurosurgeon to come in, follow up from one of my 4 brain surgeries in the last few years. And it was in 2018, and we were sitting in there, and we could kind of hear a conversation on the other side of the wall, with the next room. And we kind of could tell, you can't hear the words, but you can hear the tone, right? And you could hear that it kind of wasn't going well. They were upset. They were distraught. And it was like, I flashed back and I thought, man, I wonder if they're finding out their child's going to have brain surgery for the first time, and all I wanted to do was run next door to that room and give them a hug and tell them it was going to be okay and answer their questions. And, and I thought, we got to do something. We got to do something to help this population of people with hydrocephalus to normalize it, and to make sure that people know that they're not alone, and that they have a community and they have a voice, and they can, that there's somebody out there that they can reach out to if they have questions. And so that was kind of the birthplace of Hydro with Hope, which is our nonprofit organization to help people with hydrocephalus. And we published a journal, which is behind me here. I've got a copy here, and it's called My Hydro Warrior Story. And it is a fill in the blank journal. I'm going to put it on this side, that walks people through all the things. You find out you're going to have brain surgery. This takes you step by step through that first moment all the way through surgery and going home and carrying on beyond. This is an incredibly valuable tool. And we're so thankful that we're able to get it out to anybody that needs it. And it's, of course, available on our website, hydrowithhope.com, for anybody that wants a copy. And through Hydro with Hope is where we kind of launched our TV show, which is called Invisible Condition. And we wanted to have a kind of an all-encompassing show as far as that goes. So we didn't want to just do hydrocephalus. We wanted to have people on the show with any kind of invisible condition, anything that you can't see from the outside that people are living with, but they're thriving in spite of it. And so we've had people on for multiple things, multiple sclerosis or bipolar, schizophrenia, lupus, POTS, hydrocephalus, all kinds of things, and organizations that help that population to live better lives. So it's been quite the journey over the last couple of years, but it's been amazing, and I feel like I found a good stride here with this. So
yeah, absolutely. And, Jeff, I'm fascinated to ask you about the idea of emotional courage and how you define that, and how it's an individual journey for anyone dealing with going through a condition like yours or mine, or going through life and challenging times. So how do you define emotional courage?
Emotional courage, man, that's a word I have not heard in a while. That's awesome. I love that question. Thank you. Emotional courage. I think that would mean, as an example, you find out that you're going to have brain surgery again, right? Which is, it's a thing. You find out you're going to have brain surgery again because of this problem or that problem. We're going to correct this, correct that. So you have 2 choices at that point. You could either get upset and you can be sad, and you can be woe is me, and oh my gosh, I'm so bad, and this is it's gonna be so terrible, and I can't believe I have to have surgery, and why me, and all this. Or you can say, okay, what do we do now? This is the inevitability. Surgery is what we're going to do. How do we handle it well? How do we rein our emotions in and not let them get the best of us, and not let our imagination run away with itself, and be able to contain your emotions well, and not stuff them down and not feel them, but just be able to say, okay, I feel this, but it's not gonna run my day, So I think that'd be my best answer for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jeff, I'm a huge believer in living a life with empathy and compassion, my friend, because if you're compassionate towards other people, it's my belief that your cup of fulfillment will be filled if you're compassionate towards others. So tell me, how do you define equitable compassion?
Did you say equitable compassion?
Yeah, so what does it mean for you to be compassionate from an equitable standpoint? Yeah.
So compassion is, that is a principle that I have learned very well over the last, especially over the last 10 years, having 6 surgeries, 4 of them being brain surgeries since 2014 or 13. Compassion I've had to learn that a little more. Over my lifetime, I haven't had to deal with a lot of problems related to the surgery, but over the last 10 years, it's been kind of forced on me. And so compassion means, looking at somebody else's situation from your perspective and saying, everybody's going through something, right? So I might be going through another, the news that I'm going to have brain surgery again, or that my child has something that's going to have to require surgery again. How do you handle that? And really, and I guess the equitable part would be everybody's different. And you just, it's important to recognize that they're different, but really we're all humanity, and we're all on this planet to live our best life. And you know what? I actually come at life from a perspective of, I'm a Jesus follower. And so I come to the world through a biblical perspective. And so that actually kind of forms my life and my outlook on everything. And so according to the Bible, what does compassion mean? And it means laying down your life for your friends, laying down yourself as sacrificially to help other people. And so that's how I would answer that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jeff, I know that you traveled the world as a singer for a year with a group that you were a part of. So tell me about that experience and the coolest place that you traveled, my friend.
So that group, I traveled with a group called Up With People. And it's a group that's still around. They're still plugging along. They're doing awesome things. They've been around since the late 50s, early 60s, and it's a group that divides takes students from anywhere from 18 to 25 years of age, and you audition for this group, and they say, okay, you're in, let's go. And you travel for a year. You leave and you don't come back for a year, and you travel the world. During that year, you're staying in host families every city that you go to, and you're performing a show. We performed like a 2-hour stage show at theaters and stuff. And yeah, I've been a singer since high school. I still love to sing, and that was a big part of that year. We traveled all over the country. We went all up and down the East Coast, and then went over to Europe and traveled to 7 or 8, 9 countries over there. And really it was spreading a message of community and hope and inclusiveness and, you know, uh, community, you know, like the world is not as big as you think it is. You know, we all need to come together and get along, you know? And so it was great. And that year I went when I was right after high school. So I was only 18 and I turned 19 on the road, and that was a very impressionable year for me. And I came back, I feel like I came back a totally different person. And I matured a ton during that year. And I feel like that has given me a definitely a unique outlook on the world, not just living in our own little United States bubble. You know, there is a big world out there, and there's a lot of awesome people and a lot of awesome places and experiences to go check out. So it was a wonderful year, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You know, we only have a life to live, so we might as well cash in all of our adventure chips, right?
There you go.
Absolutely. And, you know, Jeff, you tell me that living with hydrocephalus has taught you three things with certainty, my friend. So I'm wondering if we can dive into those three things and why they're so important to you.
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate that, man. So in our journal, I put it in here. I put it at the end of our, there's a section in here that says about Jeff. And so we, you know, just to kind of tell you about the author and what I went through and what sparked the reason for doing the journal. And at the end down here on the page is the three things that I'm going to talk that you asked about. And it says, having lived with hydrocephalus for over 45 years, I can say three things with 100% certainty. Number one, God is faithful all the time. Number two, God is in control, and that's a good thing. And number three, life does not have to be perfect to be amazing. And all three of those are very true. And I have learned so much about those three over the last 8 or 10 years with all these surgeries, even more. And that's why we put that in here. So, I mean, whether, and I know not everybody is a Christian. I know not everybody is a Jesus follower, and I totally understand that. I respect your choice not to be. I would love it if everybody was, but it's a free world. You know, you can choose whatever, but I'm telling you, God is faithful, and he loves you, and he will stick with you through anything. And my life and my marriage in the last 25 years is a testament to that. And we have had high points and we have had low points. But the one thing that I can say for sure is that he has been with us the whole time, and he has provided, and we have never doubted it for a second. And in control, he is in control, and that's a good thing, because if I was in control, it'd be a big old mess. We can't be our own standard. You know, there has to be a higher standard, and so the fact that he is in control is huge. And it is a thing of relief for me that he is in control, and I can lean on him if I need him in a situation, which is every situation. And life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful, to be amazing. It's true. You know it better than I. You probably know it at least as well as I do. Anybody with an invisible condition or visible condition, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You know, like, or even if you don't, even if your life is great and you've never had a surgery or stubbed your toe in your life, there's still things that come up. It's all relative, right? So sometimes situations come up that aren't ideal, but that doesn't mean that life isn't amazing. Life doesn't have to be perfect. Life's never going to be perfect. So the key is to accept that and roll with it, knowing the truth that life isn't perfect and it's never going to be. So how are you going to live in spite of that?
Yeah, and you know, Jeff, I'm curious to ask you about the involvement of your personal character, because I know you went through a stretch where you had to have 6 more of surgeries during your journey, and I'm Curious, what do you think you've learned the most about your personal character during that time? And up to today, my friend, what do you think you've learned most about yourself?
Boy, so that's a good question. I think I think there was a turning point. I'm just going to encapsulate these last 10 years real quick because it's been that's been really the litmus test, so to speak. When you don't have a lot of adversity and you don't have a lot of surgery that you have to deal with, life's great. It's when life hits the fan, right? That you gotta see what you're made of. And my parents, I give them all the credit, man. I mean, glory to God for giving me these parents. They're fantastic. They first of all, they never made me feel like I was a sick kid, right? Like, they could have said, "Oh my gosh, you have this thing in your head, you have this condition, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do this." No, no, no. They let me live my life, and they let me, try things, try new things. They steered me away from obvious things that were dangerous, like football and soccer and things where you're banging your head against things. But really, they kind of let me do my thing, and I appreciate that because that's helped me learn so much. And in the last 10 years, that's come in handy because it's not always perfect. And there was a time I was in the hospital for about 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks, because of a bacterial infection that had gotten into my cerebrospinal fluid. And so I had to have two brain surgeries. And I was in there for a long time, and I was starting to get discouraged. And my dad, in no uncertain terms, was like, "Look, you need to snap out of it. You've got to adjust your attitude, son. These people that are in the hospital that are helping you they love you, and they're helping you, and they are here for you. And so you need to turn it around so that you need to be more appreciative and more grateful, and see how that goes for you. Because right now it sounds like you're complaining a little bit, and you have no reason to complain. So because you're alive and well and doing great. And so I pray about that, see what God tells you." And he was right. And so I turned it around, and by the end of that 3 weeks in the hospital, my attitude was completely different. I mean, it's so important to have other people that are influencing your life, because it's not all about you. And so to have that outside perspective was so cool. And he's still to this day is so good with that. So, I don't know. That's it.
Yeah,
That's what I got.
yeah, absolutely. And Jeff, what do you think it means to live in the moment? What does that mean to you?
Live in the moment. Well, we all know the past doesn't really do anything for you. You can't live in the past. That's why the windshield is bigger than the rearview mirror, right? Because you got to keep looking forward, right? You can't drive looking at the rearview mirror. You'll be in trouble. And the future hasn't happened yet, so you don't know what's going to happen there. So if you're afraid of that, if you're afraid of what hasn't happened yet, that can go really bad really quick. And because it hasn't happened yet, you don't know. You could be like worst case scenario guy, but really it's not here yet. So there's still time to change that, right? So living in the moment is just realizing that you're here, you're still here, like it's a good day. I'm awake, I'm out of bed, I feel good, I'm on this amazing show with Kevin. It's a beautiful day. And so living in that and realizing that just soak up every moment of every day that you can, because today's never going to happen again. You only get one, and you might not wake up tomorrow morning. So make the most of today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself. So,
Yeah.
At the age of 9, Jeff, I was actually told by a doctor that I would not be able to walk for the duration of my life, because of the severity of my cerebral palsy. But I have always told myself that inclusion is the gateway to independence. And, Jeff, to me, life, the tragedy of life isn't when it ends, my friend. It's refusing to live while you still have air to breathe. In fact, that's the last line of my biography, Jeff. And
Right.
I'm curious, what does it mean to you to live life to its maximum potential?
Oh man. Uh Boy, I think where I am in my life right now, I think how I would answer that is to know that things don't have to be perfect to be awesome. That line in that I put in my book, life doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. That is probably my biggest thing that I have to keep realizing is, just forward movement. Forward movement is all that matters. Don't if you're not moving forward, you're moving backward. And if you no, I think it's just so important to not wallow, not wallow in what's going wrong, but to be excited about what's going right, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, and to that point, Jeff, I'm curious to get your perspective on the whole concept of allyship and the inclusion of all people, as how we can sort of make the acceptance of all people a reality more than it actually is. One of the reasons, Jeff, I wanted to start this podcast is I wanted to create what I call more bridges of unity and really heal the divisions that sort of divide us, my friend. So, how do you think we can celebrate the differences of others and really create that bridge of understanding?
Well, I mean, yeah, everybody's different, everybody's individual, right? And so, I mean, God created everybody, and God doesn't make mistakes. So I would say God created you. Live in that joy that you were created by an all-knowing, loving, caring creator, and he does not make mistakes. And so if you are here and you feel like you are, that you shouldn't be, or that you're somehow imperfect because of something that happened to you, or that you feel like you were born with, or a condition or something, God doesn't make mistakes, and he loves you exactly the way you are. And so that is all the inclusion that I've ever needed. And that's really to know that the creator of the universe loves you exactly the way you are is huge, and wants the best for you. And so that's how I would say it. I mean, that's as much inclusion as I would ever dream of needing, is to be part of that family of God. So
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jeff, if I gave you a budget of $100 million and I said the only contingency on the money is that you had to spread random acts of kindness, how do you think you would spend the money?
I love that question. That's awesome, man. I've grown up watching my dad do stuff like that. It's something I'm familiar with. We'll be out to eat or something as a family, when I was in junior high or high school, and I would watch him, see a couple come in, like maybe an older couple that's barely walking in, and he'll walk up to the register and give them a $50 or $100 bill or something, and say, here, or whatever he gave him. I don't know what he gave him. I just, gave him some money and said, whoever that couple, their meal is on me, that kind of thing. And that kind of, and like, or paying it forward, like in the drive up line, or, and so I've had that example. I've watched him do that for so long, and it's so cool. And it gives me chills every time I see him do it, because it's so awesome to know that he's such a giving, generous person. And so if you landed $100 million in my lap and said the only thing I could do with it is to bless others, I think the first thing I would do would be to just blow Hydro with Hope up, man, and make it a worldwide thing. Create the journal in more languages so that more people on other continents could take advantage of it. And then I would make sure that we were able to give everything away. We wouldn't have to depend on anything from anybody, and we could just give and go places and just speak to people and tell them our story and have people come on the show more often and tell their story and really make sure that nobody had to suffer to pay hospital bills. Just set up some sort of fund so that people could not have to, you go for brain surgery. I mean, good Lord, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if you don't have insurance or you're working from, Medicaid or something, that doesn't cover everything, it's not your fault that you have this condition. Mm-hmm. So it'd be so nice to be able to just say, look, I'll cover the bill. Don't worry about it. Go get what you got to get to feel better. I'll cover it. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Jeff, as you know, adversity is not immune to any of us. It'll strike all of us, whether we want it to or not. So if I asked you to create a roadmap to get through life's adversities, how do you think you would construct a roadmap?
So first thing I would do is I would say the question why is not allowed, because it doesn't matter why. This is happening. Why is a useless question. If you ask the question why about a situation that's happening to you, you will always be disappointed with the answer because it's never going to be good enough for you. So set that question aside and just say, okay, not why, but what? What are we going to do and how are we going to get it done? And so I would set that as the course and say, okay, we need to get down the road. How are we going to do it? What kind of vehicle are we going to have? And how many people can we take with us? How big of a vehicle can we have so that we can take people along and show them how to go down the road successfully so that, we can learn from other people's experience on the road and we don't have to be there by ourselves so that we're, stumbling along. You could show people how to more successfully navigate that, whatever they're going through and whatever that road means for them, and be able to pick them up and take them with you and show them how to do it.
Yeah, and Jeff, how do you define the word hope? What does hope mean to you?
Hope to me is knowing that my eternity is secure. My hope is in Jesus. And so I know that I have somebody that will always listen to me and that that always has my best in mind and will never leave ever. And I get to spend eternity with him. And so that is where my hope is in Jesus and on here while I'm here, alive and thriving and living and loving with my family. That's my hope is that I will do right by them and be able to, provide what we need to provide and help the people that we set out to help and make sure that my family knows that they are incredibly loved and valued by me and that I am just excited to be on this ride with them.
Yeah, and Jeff, outside of your family and your current level of health, I'm curious, what are the three things you're most grateful for in life?
Outside of family and medical stuff. Okay. I'm very grateful for a couple of groups that I'm a part of that have a couple business networking groups that I'm a part of that have really sprung Hydro with Hope and Invisible Condition TV show into the stratosphere in record time, which never would have happened without those organizations and the help and the connections that I made through those. And so that's one thing I'm so grateful for, is the people that have helped me along that journey. And another thing that I'm very grateful for is my friend and the person that had kept me on his payroll when most people probably would have kicked me to the curb after my first or second brain surgery. And his name is Eric. And I've worked for him since 2011. And he has seen me through all these surgeries, and he has been so amazing and so accommodating and so willing to keep me working for him, even though I've been gone for a lot of these surgeries, and it's affected me in a way, and it's affected my work. But I couldn't have done this last 10 or 12 years without him. So I'm very grateful for those things.
Absolutely. And, Jeff, I'm going to end this way. I'm curious to get your life motto, my friend. If there's a life motto that you live by, and just finally, when you look at your life from a 30,000-foot view, my friend, how do you want your legacy to be defined from a personal and professional standpoint?
Man, that's a lot. You might have to ask me one of those questions again. How would I? The first one was
your life motto. What's your
life's motto? Well, I'll tell you what. Life's motto probably would be somewhere along the lines of your attitude is the only thing you have 100% control over, crossed with life doesn't have to be perfect to be amazing. So probably somewhere between those two would be my life motto. Just, it can be awesome even if it's not perfect, and your attitude is truly the only thing you have 100% control over. So keep that in mind and make it a positive one. And what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, your legacy, my friend. How do you want your legacy to be defined?
When and if people are talking about me 100 years from now, I want that conversation to revolve around the fact that I lived my life well, and that I accomplished the mission that God set before me, which I believe at this point, he can change direction on, any time. But so far right now, my life track is to help as many people with hydrocephalus as humanly possible to know that they have a voice, they have a community, and that they are not alone through Hydro with Hope and through the resources we have. And I would love if our TV show would live on, for decades to come after, I have no plans to change what I'm doing right now. I am having such a blast, and I know this is where God has us. And that TV show is going to live on forever on that website and on that TV station. And I hope that, 50 years from now, people are still watching that show going, oh man, what an amazing story. What a great guest he had on. What an amazing organization he had on. And I want the focus to be on the impact that those people that I had on the show are making in the world, and how people are learning and benefiting from that.
Absolutely. And finally, Jeff, tell me, if people want to get connected with Hydro for Hope or yourself personally, my friend, what's the best way they can do that?
So, yeah, thank you. If people want to get in touch with Hydro with Hope, the best way to do it is an email. I have an email they can reach out to. It's jeff@hydrowithhope.com, and that's HYDRO, just like Hydro. So jeff@hydrowithhope. They can join our email list on hydrowithhope.com, which we're revamping, by the way. We're redoing the website, so it'll look really cool come January or February. or they can reach out if they want more information about the TV show or know somebody that wants to be a guest or know somebody that wants to further the cause of the TV show by being an advertiser or a sponsor. You can reach out by emailing me at either Jeff at Hydro with Hope or more specifically invisible condition at e360 invisible condition at e360tv.com. Sorry. So those are the two places, Jeff at hydrowithhope.com and invisible condition at e360tv.com. Those are the two best places.
Well, fabulous, Jeff. I really want to thank you for your dedication to the persistence of your perseverance in life and the work that you're doing to move the needle of progress forward. And I want to thank you for joining me to engage in conversation this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for your platform and for all the things you're doing. And I'm so grateful that you reached out. It's been an honor to be on your show, and thank you very much.